And here we are. The last grand finals of the opening season of Pro CS2 is done. It's in the books. We have settled who has won Blast Spring Finals. 8 teams have entered. 1 team has risen from the ashes. And who would have guessed it? Team Spirit cap off an absolutely incredible season with yet another championship win, answering a lot of the doubters along the way. And they did it by beating NAVI in a best-of-5 set, where they were by far the most dominant team in the server today. Credit to NAVI, they put up a good fight at points, but it felt like they couldn't do anything to stop the overwhelming force that Spirit brought to the table. And that's despite NAVI having an incredible tournament run in their own right. Overall though, I would not consider this tournament performance to be a disappointment for NAVI. They showed a lot of incredible stuff in many great series, and falling short to a team as good as Spirit is by no means a black mark against them, but maybe I'm getting a little ahead of myself. Let's get into this, start breaking down the series, all the important parts, and see what happened in this climactic grand final. But before we do, make sure you guys take a second, leave a like, leave a comment down below, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. It helps out immensely in the YouTube algorithm. Many of you who watch these videos are not subscribed, so make sure you do it while you're down there. Consider becoming a channel member for $5 a month. You can support me directly in what we do here, gain access to regular videos the night before anybody else, and a shout out at the end of every video. And lastly, check me out on Twitch, twitch.tv/LionHeartZ1337. I stream Sunday through Friday, 8:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Make sure you drop on by and say hello, and let's get into this best of 5 monster. So, as per usual, when we get down to these grand finals, I like to take a closer look at some of the smaller details before we get into breaking down the individual maps. So let's talk about the pick ban. When we're talking about a best of 5, the pick ban gets a lot more interesting because you tend to have to flex the limits of your map pool. So teams like FaZe, for example, often feel like they have an advantage because they claim to play all 7 maps competently. But is that always true? Sometimes when you get into these best of 5 finals, you can expose some holes that don't normally get pressured in a best of 3 format. However, here, all that build-up was for nothing because the pick ban went pretty much as smoothly as possible, as neither team plays Inferno or Vertigo. They're the perm bans of each other, so they both just got them off the board and are happy to play the 5 remaining maps. Which left us with the following order for our series. Spirit would start off with an Ancient pick, NAVI would counter with Dust 2, Spirit would follow with Mirage, NAVI would pick Nuke, and that would leave Anubis as the 5th decider if needed. Honestly, love the spread of maps for these two teams. I do not mind that we are not going to see Vertigo or Inferno in this best of 5 finals, so good riddance. And with that, let's get into our very first game on Ancient. And what we got here, I think, is a great example of the current state of Ancient in the meta, and that's that aggressive T-sides can overwhelm the CTs with ease. Spirit will start on the T side and NAVI on the CT defense, and Spirit would open up with a 6-round run of pure dominance. They were simply running at NAVI and forced them to take duels that they could not win. A lot of it centered around mid-map control and then splitting towards the A bomb side or B depending on what kind of intel they received. But if you can control mid, you can control Ancient, and that's true for both sides, and NAVI was simply not up to the task of defending mid for any significant stretch of time on this half. And even when they did overemphasize the mid control, they ran into the classic problem of the Ancient defense, and that's if you put too many resources on mid, one of the bomb sites has to suffer. Look no further than round 5. NAVI are still struggling to just get around on the board, so they're going to overemphasize and shut down the mid and the B aggression that Spirit had laid down in the prior rounds. Bit and Emma are going to take mid control and shut down Donk's aggression. Meanwhile, literally everybody else has gone to B to stifle the possible early ramp push. But there's literally nobody on A, and Spirit are running a default A long push. They're going to smoke CT, smoke roundabout, and then find that there's literally nobody on A. They've been given the site for free. So even though they lost Donk in an early pick, it doesn't matter. It's 4v5 on one of the toughest bomb site retakes in the game, and the bomb is down, with nobody on NAVI nearby, and anyone who is locked behind smokes. This is basically an unwinnable situation for NAVI despite the man advantage. And as soon as JL is caught trying to stewie his way into the bomb site, there's no more hope. NAVI have to back off. This is an unwinnable situation. It's time to save because your economy is already so wrecked. And what's weird to me is that NAVI are normally really great at making adjustments in response to what the opponents are doing, especially in this tournament, but we rock up to the very next round, and it's basically going to happen again. They're going to do the same thing. Bit and Emma are going to try and shut down Donk in mid. Bit's going to trade out Emma. Alright, mid control secured. But again, nobody's on the A site once again, and A site's left completely open. Spirit are just going to go A again, which they do, and even though the response from NAVI is quicker this time, giving them the bomb sites like this is just kind of unacceptable. And they work it. They work this round as good as they can. They get down to a 3v2, but another big narrative throughout this series is that Spirit aren't playing just as the Donk show. Shiro and Zontix both had amazing rounds throughout this entire series, and especially here on Ancient, the amount of times these two clutched up rounds for Spirit Spirit was remarkable, and that's what's going to happen here. They're going to grind the round down. They're going to back them into roundabout. They're not going to immediately commit to the A site plant. They're going to use all that time on the clock because, again, they were on the bomb site in 15 seconds. You have an entire round to work with still. They're going to let NAVI sweat it out. Let NAVI try and take back some of the A site control and try and suss out where the bomb is. They don't know where Spirit are right now. They have an idea, but the bomb's not been planted. The bomb's not been seen. Could it already be on B? Could it be in mid? Could it be in A long? Who knows? NAVI have to worry about all this information. Meanwhile, Spirit can wait and play around the margins and see how NAVI react. And after resmoking CT and approaching for the plant on A, Shiro's going to go for the fake plant. That's going to force Wonderful to try and deny the plant. Shiro's going to come off and hit an insane no-scope. Now it's down to a 2v2. Temple is still Molotov'd out. CT is still smoked. The bomb is going to be able to go down. And now Shiro and Zontex are in a great advantageous spot for this 2v2 side hold. Zontex finds the Temple pick on JL, and then it's just down to Alexi B in a 1v2 against two of the best players on Spirit, which means he's going down in short order. Now, it's not to say that it's all doom and gloom for NAVI. Fair play to them as they seem to believe in this 3B2 mid setup, as coming out of the timeout on the very next round, they commit to it again, but this time Team Spirit are playing a slower round where they want to work towards mid, work towards cave, work towards B, and in this case, this big giant wall of defense is actually super successful. My only concern is, what would have happened if Spirit just decided to go A third time? It feels like it's too much of a gamble, and even though they get the win here by just working picks, having all of this trade potential as Spirit try to push into B, it just feels like it's too risky to leave A this undefended. Overall, Spirit would hold NAVI to just 2 CT rounds. They would dominate the first half, and at this point, I feel like this map is going to be a blowout. It just seems too tall a task to ask NAVI to make any kind of significant comeback from this deficit. However, we would be proven wrong. NAVI would actually make a very fair shot at making this a close game. They open up and win the second half pistol, then claim the first 2 rounds after on the economic advantage. They gave one slip-up full buy back to Spirit, but from there, they played really solid. They got it back to the point where they were only 2 rounds off from tying this up. However, there were a few shaky moments to highlight. We open up round 19 and they're dealing with some ecoing Spirit players. Spirit are stacked up in A and roundabout, hoping for a mid pinch to walk into their loving embrace. Meanwhile, NAVI are going to slowly take mid control, wait to find out what exactly Spirit are up to in this round, with no real interest in taking a bomb site right away. However, things are going to get a little screwy as Alexi B and Wonderful creep up towards the roundabout. Alexi B is really looking for someone to peek him, and when he does, it's from 2 different angles. A little bit of a panic spray, isn't able to get either kill. Meanwhile, Wonderful, I assume, misses his first op shot, switches to the pistol, but is also swiftly taken out. So now 2 players are down, guns are down in mid. Meanwhile, Emma is going to secure Red Room, taking care of Chomper. JL is going to be grabbing the bomb and hauling ass to B, leaving Bit on an island dealing with 3 Spirit players with pistols trying to collapse on him on log A. And let's just call it how it is. Bit bails out NAVI here with a little bit of individual brilliance, a great 3-piece, all headshots to shut down any hope Spirit had in this round, forcing Magix in a position where he should try to save. Oh, by the way, brief aside, shout out to a guy in my comments on the last video who gave me shit for saying Magisk at some points instead of Magix. It's not my fault, they have basically the same fucking name. Get off my ass. Shout out to that guy. Alright, NAVI, settle down. You guys avoided disaster. You didn't lose to the eco round, for now. Let's see what you guys do on the follow-up round. To summarize, NAVI are going to do a fantastic job at controlling chaos. Spirit are going to overemphasize mid and B control, similar to what NAVI were doing on the first half. Donk doing his favorite thing by taking mid control and then creeping up the caves as fast as possible. They're trying to pinch NAVI in here and secure the backside of B and shut down the push before it can happen. However, it's all going to fall apart with some timely lurk presence from Emma. Magix is going to get caught out on B side by JL, Wonderful is going to get refragged by Shiro, and Donk's going to begin the pinch into caves as Alexi B finds Chopper. Donk's going to get the refrag on Chopper, but there's Emma in mid to shut down Zontex right behind him, forcing Donk to turn around and consider the mid presence, allowing him to get shot in the back by JL. And now, after all that chaos, NAVI are up a 3 versus 1. They're just going to haul ass straight to A and just avoid Shiro because they know he's on the B side, get the plant down, and that's a 9th round secured. Great presence in all that chaos to remain calm and take the correct gunfights, JL and Emma especially being crucial to securing that round and not allowing Spirit to overwhelm them. Unfortunately, the very next round, Spirit would overwhelm them and end the game. I mean, oh god, I don't even know what to say. I'm just gonna let this round roll. This is just ugly. It's full ecoing players on Spirit, and NAVI just throw this round away. The team kill is unfortunate, the comms look scattered, and they just get picked around the margins. Chopper with the flank is the knife in the back. That's a match point for Spirit that they would convert on easily and send us to map 2. A great attempted comeback by Navi, but you shouldn't be that much in the hole in the first place, and that's going to come back to haunt them throughout this series. So we're moving on to Dust 2, and we're going to skip straight to deep into the second half. We're going to skip all the way into round 17. The score is 8-9. Navi are looking to tie things up after a great little run of CT rounds. They went behind early in the first half and couldn't get much done on their T side, and now they're trying to fend off yet another Spirit attack. For Spirit, they're coming off of a previous round save, so their economy is pretty thin. So this is a big swing opportunity. If Spirit win this round, they maintain their economy, maintain the lead, and stop Navi's forward momentum. However, if they lose, their economy is going to be very thin on the ground next round, and they would be highly likely to concede the lead back over to Navi. This is a very pivotal point in the game, and what's going to happen here is a rare sloppy call from Chopper in my opinion. The round's going to start, and we're going to see all 5 Spirit players funnel towards long A to take the long A control. The usual barrage of utility isn't really going to favor either team. Alexi B is going to be backed up towards the car position, and this is where the round really starts to shake up in Navi's favor. Alexi B is going to get mollied out. He's going to drop the smoke at his feet to extinguish, but he's also not going to move. Navi are waiting for him to move and try and back up, so they're watching the car side, but Alexi B is just holding his breath, waiting for his teammates to bail him out, and he's not moving an inch. He's eventually rewarded for his efforts with a smoke, Molotov, and a crucial pick by Wonderful that allows him to move back behind the car, but instead of falling all the way back to sight, he starts spamming through the smoke trying to fish for some frags, and he finds one. At this point, Spirit have committed a ton of utility, a ton of presence, made so much noise for next to nothing in return. In fact, even after getting Alexi B on the trade, they're down 4v3, and they're so locked into long that they know that Navi have pinched in and they can't rotate off. They're basically forced into a position where they have to entrench themselves in long and pit and just accept the save. The round's given over to Navi, the 3 players get out alive, but Spirit's economy is very thin on the ground, and Navi maintain their streak of rounds and crucially keep the momentum on their side. So now it's a tie ball game, and Spirit have very little money to contest with. They can get one more force by here, but if they go on to lose this round, their economy is completely broken. It's almost a guaranteed follow round if Navi win it here. Unfortunately, I think Navi make the wrong call in this situation. The round's going to start, and Wonderful is going to get aggressive, pushing into lower tunnels with the op, trying to get the forward position and knowledge, and potentially the early pick. However, he's going to miss the shot towards top mid barrels, and that miss hurts immensely as he gets immediately found out and taken down, and that's another op given over to Spirit. From here, again, I think Navi are just getting a little too aggressive. They're not waiting for Spirit to make their moves and respond in kind. Emma and JL are trying to boost over the smoke and see Catwalk and Xbox, but the smoke clears. JL's unable to get any kind of spray or even a pick for his troubles, and they both fall down, giving mid control over to Spirit. And from there, the round is immediately over. They've gotten no picks. It's a 5v2, an unwinnable situation, and Spirit get away with highway robbery. A round where they had very little resources and didn't have much to work with. Navi just ran into their arms, gave them favorable gunfights, and just couldn't convert. But it's not all over yet. Navi have one more goodbye in the tank. They can still tie it up and keep the game honest. And in the next round, I think they're going to do pretty much everything right until the very last moment. It's a lot of exchange of utility. It's a lot of vying for positional control, but no picks are exchanged for almost the entire round. We get down to the sub-minute mark, close to 40 seconds, and Navi are still re-smoking Cat, denying Spirit the attempt to take A. Spirit are locked into this Cat push. There's not enough time to go anywhere else, and then at 28 seconds, another smoke comes in to block off Cat again, and Spirit have no choice. They have to throw their own response smoke. They have to push the site now and try and take it. Emma does his best to get ahead of this. He gets into the off angle, manages to get one pick for his troubles, but he's immediately traded out. The site is lost. It's a 4v4 retake. The bomb is down, and there's no one in a favorable position on Navi's side to even attempt this retake. As soon as Alexi B goes down at A ramp, they have to save. There's no money. They can't even attempt this 3v3 post plant. They have to play for the next round. They have to try and guard against the match point. And in a round where they force Spirit into one bad push at 25 seconds, they simply lost the gunfights and the round immediately, despite doing everything they possibly could to be in a favorable spot for it. And on the very next round, Spirit are hunting this match point. They smell the blood in the water. They know they control the pace. They know everything's in their hands. What are they going to do? It's time for the classic B rush. 4 men straight out of tunnels, smokes, flashes, JL, 1 man alone to save the tournament. Unable to do anything, Zontics and Donk straight into the site. Both picks, site secured. It's a 2v5 retake to try and fend off the match point, a round where Navi weren't allowed even a second thought at trying to contest it. Within 20 seconds, the round is immediately over, match point secured, Navi are broke, nothing to be done. Spirit overwhelmed them into a second map victory and a 2-0 lead in the series. Alright Navi, your back's up against the wall. Alexi B has never won a map in a best of 5 grand finals in his career, and now you're starting to sweat. Spirit are looking overwhelming. They're already hunting a 3-0 victory, their second 3-0 grand finals win in this team's all too short career, and you're moving on to Mirage, a map they play well, a map you guys enjoy as well. How are you going to respond already being this far in the deficit? Well, they're going to walk out and hand Spirit their worst loss of the tournament, a 13-4 shellacking, where the CT defense from NAVI was basically perfect. They held this Spirit T-side to just 2 rounds, and leading the way was Mr. Wonderful, and oh boy did he live up to his name. 17 first half kills, 14 kills on the op. He was transcendent, inscrutable, and utterly dominant when NAVI needed it most. There's not even much to break down. Spirit couldn't find an advantage to save their lives on the T side, and honestly it comes off the back of Zontix and Shiro going missing. Donk still got his because he's Donk, he's gonna get his, but it's not enough. The calling here was still solid by Chopper, but they couldn't execute the picks, they couldn't win the op duels, they couldn't break the economy in NAVI, and that put NAVI in a dominant position to be able to win this map basically guaranteed. Even though Spirit take the piss around in the next one, NAVI calmly win their gun rounds following on the T side. They win their 3 gun rounds, they make it look easy, and we're moving on to the penultimate map in this series, good old Nuke. Unfortunately for NAVI, it appears that there was something inevitable about Spirit on this day, because NAVI should have gone for the head. We go to Nuke, and Spirit returned the shellacking in kind with a dominant 13-6 victory, where all the Infinity Stones were put in the gauntlet and this team was firing on all cylinders. And that's in spite of the fact that I think NAVI have one of the best T-sides on Nuke in World Counter-Strike. I love Alexi B's play calling on this map, but here, they couldn't do anything. Their T-sides were thoroughly neutralized. Zontix and Donk were simply feasting on NAVI, whether it was outside or on ramp, whether it was Shiro backing up Donk, or Donk going solo, Zontix holding ramp like a boss. NAVI simply couldn't make anything happen. And even when NAVI would get an opening, like on round 9, here they are on an eco with the hero AK on JL, they're going to wait out basically this entire round. They're going to run the clock down, let Spirit run around, waste a bunch of utility, and at the very last second, they're just going to go in for the pub push on upper. And it's going to work out in their favor. They're going to get the trades for the site control, they're going to get the bomb down, and they're left in a 2v3 situation with Donk and Chopper off site. However, Donk's going to get the first pick back, putting it into a 2v2, and from there, the post-plant defense is just too tough for the remaining NAVI players. They're going to stack up by Squeaky, Donk and Chopper are going to push out of heaven, they're going to push up to bomb and calmly get the 2 picks they need to secure the site and fend off that eco loss. And in the very next round, this is one of my favorite setups from NAVI. They're going to open up the round with the first smoke wall by Mini to deny any outside intel towards Donk or the Opera in Big Garage. And then they're going to take that outside control, move to Red Box, and throw a secondary smoke wall that covers the cross to Secret in a way that Heaven can't spot over the top. So now, from Spirit's perspective, they have no idea if anyone's crawled down Secret. They have to honor the possibility of players going Secret and into the B bomb site. However, NAVI are in the full rotate. They're moving back into lobby and setting up for an immediate A hit while the smokes are still up. And here, it's a beautiful A execution. The Molotovs, the grenades, the flashes, they're perfect. They take care of the top HUD player. However, it's Magix and Donk with the wonderful response, 2 kills each, utterly gutting the push even though JL gets the first pick, and suddenly it goes from a huge advantage where NAVI should have had the site and gone the bomb down and been up like in a 4v2, instead it's a 2v1 and Emma has to back off and try and rotate around ramp, but Zontix is aware of it, catches him out, and that's round over. A great setup from NAVI, but utterly gutted by the absolute fragging power of Spirit. And that's really the story of this Grand Finals, because when the Spirit system is working to its fullest possibility, Donk doesn't have to be the best player to ever live. He can still, calmly drop 73 frags across 4 maps and have like a 1.4 rating and be the best player in the tournament. Oh no, oh god, how bad of him to do so. But when Shiro and Zontix are right behind him with their ability to clutch, hold with the ops, hold in positions where Donk can be aggressive for him, when Magix and Chopper are right behind us, the great support pieces, and Chopper's in-game leading is just on top of it with the mid-game calls, this team is truly terrifying. And even though Alexi B called a great series, his strats weren't bad, his stars overall just weren't as good in these games, and you could not make up the gap in fragging ability that Spirit had on them. Flashing forward to round 18, I think we see that on full display. Spirit are hunting for match point, meanwhile NAVI are just trying to stay alive, out of money and out of time. They're getting desperate. They're going to try and get aggressive in towards lobby. And yeah, you know, listen, they find a little bit, right? JL gets the cheeky pick with the MP9 on the ladder. However, the ramp pinch from Bit is just not good enough. He gets picked out in return. Both teams are going to slow it down, waiting for the other to make a mistake. And I think Emma's getting a little desperate, looking for a hero play. He peeks from lobby with the M4, gets immediately taken down. And yeah, Alexi B and Wonderful, they answer in kind of picks of their own. However, during this chaos, Zontix has sneaked out through Squeaky onto A site. Chopper pushes JL knowing that he has the MP9 and therefore is at the disadvantage. He takes that pick, and now it's a 2v2 where Spirit have the A bomb site in hand. They can get the plant down, and Alexi B and Wonderful are rotating into it. They don't know where Zontix is. He's camping under heaven. Alexi B gets caught looking for intel, and now it's a 2v1. Wonderful has the op, the last man standing to keep NAVI in this tournament, and it's just too tall of an order. Spirit get match point. They win the next round handily, and they overwhelm NAVI in a 3-1 series victory, and yet another trophy to add to the cabinet for this young team and their veteran in-game leader. Obviously, the MVP is going to go to Donk here. He was a monster in this series, and though he wasn't the titanic, overwhelming force that we've seen at various points, it's just a testament to how good he is that a 1.4 rating over 12 maps feels like kind of just a pedestrian performance for him. That's the ceiling we're talking about with this kid. The crucial part for Spirit, like I said, is that the supporting pieces were just as good. Shiro and Zontix were also well up into the top 8 players at this event, and when you have all 3 of those guys going on full cylinder, like I said, Spirit seemed like an unstoppable team sometimes. I really don't know how you counter all 3 of those guys at full power, especially when you factor in just how confident Chopper tends to call his games. When Spirit play confident, when Donk plays confident, they are absolutely the best team in the world. The question is, what are they going to do coming out of the player break? Will they maintain this form, or will it seem like a flash in the pan? I guess we'll have a month to think about it, and then we'll see. For NAVI, like I said, I think making the finals here is good. It's a great performance from them to end the season, especially considering how much we've talked about them post-major and whether or not this team is good enough or not. For them to make a great run here, take down the teams they did, they should not be going home disappointed. They fell short in the finals, sure, but they came up against just simply a better opponent on the day. I don't think you can take much away from them. Wonderful looked amazing, JL had his moments, Bit had his moments, and again, I think Alexi B is one of the top 5 in-game leaders in Counter-Strike right now. Obviously, we'll save this for a different video, but the biggest question for NAVI going into the offseason is what to do about Simple, and should you be trying to change this lineup? It's going to be interesting to talk about, so I'll save it for then. Overall, what a fantastic way to cap off this first season of Pro CS2. All the games were really enjoyable, except for the one semifinals from Versus Pro. James, you... Once again, congrats to Spirit, and thank you guys for watching all the tournaments so far this year for me. The recaps have been amazing. I feel like they've only gotten better as I've continued to refine my style. I have a lot of fun doing them. During the off season, we're going to be making a lot of speculative pro content, as well as some other non-pro related, but Counter-Strike related videos, so keep an eye out for that. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Follow me on Twitch, the link down below. Shout out to my channel members, Justin, Jesse, Furley, Bubblesj. Thank you guys for keeping the lights on. If you want to become a channel member, check the link below in the description. Support me for $5 a month. Helps out immensely. Other than that, happy Father's Day. And I'll see you guys soon with another video.